Today, we are going to be talking about dealing with unexpected things, crazy things that might happen, and how you are going to deal with it on your wedding day, which no one wants. No one wants some crazy, unexpected thing to happen, but it probably will happen, and it's good to prepare for it and do whatever. So I don't know. I always think it's better to prepare and expect something to screw up versus thinking it's all going to go perfectly, which it probably won't. So let's jump into it. All right. Like I said, we are going to be talking about dealing with the unexpected, and unexpected being probably bad things. I mean, there's some unexpected good things that could happen at your wedding, but I don't think that's what we are referring to here. We're talking about the screw-ups, the mess-ups, the bad stuff, which people fear, and I'm going to be talking about some of the common ones and kind of what to do with it. So we all know the chaos there. Something's good. There's something that could go wrong. It probably will go wrong, and I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of weddings where everything went perfectly as planned, but that doesn't always happen. I was actually talking to a couple that's getting married yesterday, and he was in a wedding that I shot several years ago, and he told me that something had gone wrong that I didn't even know had gone wrong. But that's how they played it, and it went perfectly well. No one knew it was a problem, and it worked out. So a lot of the what to expect is going to all depend on how much you prepare, but also how you react to things. Like I said, so what happened was at that wedding is the ties were wrong. Like half the groomsmen had the right tie and then the other half had the wrong tie. And they could have freaked out. They could have been like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? This is so horrible." But they didn't. They found a solution and they went with it and they enjoyed the day. So how you prepare and how you react are super important. So here are just some of the possible issues I came up with. People being late, and that could be all types of people. We'll talk about that. Things not going as you planned, weather, clothing, hair, makeup issues, or, just forgetting something. So again, these aren't all the things that could go wrong or happen, but some of the more common things that I see on a regular basis. So people being late. I don't like being late. I'd rather be 15 minutes early to something, but not everyone is like that. And the thing is, you're going to know most likely. The people that are the repeat offenders, the people that are always late. We have those people in my family. I'm sure you know your friends and the people that are like that. So a few things you can do. Lie to them, for one, and tell them that they need to be there at this time, knowing that they really don't need to be there till later. But, if you tell them 3 o'clock, they're probably going to show up at 3:30. So if you want them there at 3, tell them 2:30, and they'll probably be there at 3 o'clock. Warn them beforehand. Be like, "This is really important to me. I need you there at this time. Please be there." And if they're really bad, you can get a babysitter, someone that is in charge of them, that is like ushering them around throughout the entire day, making sure they are on time and that they will be there. Now, I know that sounds horrible, but if they're super important and they're just known for being late, you might have to do that. Put someone in charge of them. Now, I've also seen it where guests arrive late, and it kind of depends on the situation, what you do there. So I had one wedding where the mother of the groom was late. So, of course, we did not start the ceremony until she arrived. But if we're talking about just a few people and they're just some random people, go ahead and start the ceremony on time. You shouldn't make 150 people wait on 2 people unless they're super important. So that's kind of my thought on that, with dealing with the guest part of it. Now, if you're talking about other people, like I said, the mother of the bride probably should have been there earlier in the day anyway. But other important people, it's better just to have them show up early than take the risk of them messing up. I mean, you might as well have them there so you can interact with them, right? So you can do some things. Remind them again and again. If it's a problem, wait for them. Moving on. things aren't as planned or aren't going the way you want them to. So one of those things would be like if something's looking different. I see that a lot. So maybe the flowers showed up, maybe the cake showed up, maybe the food showed up, maybe the reception hall is put together and none of it is what you expected. Maybe it doesn't look right. Maybe it's not as big as it should be. You know, in those situations, I would think to myself, okay, how important is this? How important is it that the boutonniere flower is not the perfect shade of blue? Is that going to destroy my life? Probably not. But if we're talking about something super important, like the groom is allergic to fish and all they brought was fish, that would be a problem. And the other thing to think about is, can we actually change it? Is there anything we can do at this point right now in time to fix this problem? And and if you can fix it, fix it. If you can't, then you have to kind of move on with the day. What if something happens, something bad happens? I've had some weird stuff happen throughout the time. Some of it being really big, some of it not being very big. So, like, I've had the wrong song be played while the bride's walking down the aisle, or maybe their first dance. I've had a preacher use the wrong name a few times. Maybe the groom stumbled through his vows. Maybe someone trips going down the aisle. I don't know. There's lots of different things that can go wrong. I had a mother of the groom break her arm or her wrist once before. So lots of stuff can happen. And again, with all this, how big is the problem? Is it really that important? Is it something that we can't get past? What can we do to fix it? So in the case of the mother who broke her wrist, they actually built a splint and got a shawl to kind of cover up that. When we did photos, I kind of hid her arm behind people. And, we solved that problem to a degree. And then when we were done with family photos, she actually went to the hospital. With other problems, just tell somebody, this is wrong. We need to try and do this. And don't sit there and focus on it. Let them try and fix it and move on with the day. Don't let one little thing be that big of an issue. Weather. It was snowing just a few minutes ago. And we're almost in May. And last week it was 70 degrees. But we literally, it was some big chunks of snow. None of it stuck, but we had snow just a few minutes ago. And that's how crazy weather can be. And some of this you can prepare. Most people who pick April for their wedding aren't expecting snow. Most people who pick November aren't expecting extreme temperatures like hot. So when you're picking your wedding date, you can kind of do some of that, but know that weather is unpredictable. You can't control it. And prepare as much as you can so you can look at the forecast for the upcoming weeks and be like, okay, there's a 90% chance of rain. We need to start thinking of some things to do to fix this. If you have an indoor area for the ceremony, then that's already kind of fixed. If you only have outdoor areas, then you're going to have to figure out, do we need tents? Do we need umbrellas? What are we going to do to solve this problem? But don't let weather ruin your entire day. If it's only affecting your ceremony, then that's a very small portion of the day, and I think you'll be okay. I've seen plenty of people have crazy weather, and they still had a great time, and it was still a wonderful day. So don't let it mess it up. Clothing, hair, or makeup. As I mentioned earlier, we had the guys with the wrong ties, so stuff does happen. Trial runs are important. Have people try on all their clothes, try on the dress, try on ties, whatever, do a trial hair and makeup thing. So you're knowing in advance, either this works this way, it doesn't work this way, this is how long it takes, just so you have an idea. For the guys, I would always have some extra stuff sitting around because it's always somebody. Someone forgot their black socks. Someone forgot shoes. Someone forgot a belt. These pants don't fit. Whatever. I would just have some extra clothes around just in case something crazy does happen. Because like I said, it has happened. I've had guys get the wrong size pants or something didn't show up and they need they need some kind of clothing. Same thing with like makeup and hair things. Have a bunch of extra stuff set out so you can kind of make fixes and changes as it happens. And, part of that, consider the weather when you're kind of like, do we go outside and do photos? If it's super windy or rainy, you may not want to go out there. If it's super hot, you'd be sweating and you may not want to do that either. And I always suggest you leave like 30 minutes of time before the ceremony to kind of relax, calm down, but also to do any touch-ups that you need to do. And you can kind of get that done in that time. How many of you have a bad memory? I like to write stuff down, and that helps me remember stuff. Like before I pulled out of here to drive to St. Louis, I was like, okay, I need to go through every single thing that I could possibly need. And you know what? I forgot one thing. There was one thing I did forget, but it wasn't the end of the world. I focused on the big things that I needed, that I had to have to be successful on my trip. And, that one little thing, I just kind of said whatever and moved on with my life. So make a list of all the important things that you're going to need for the wedding to run smoothly. And I would distribute those responsibilities to like a few people. So like, all right, you're in charge of bringing this, this, and this. You're in charge of bringing this, this, and this. So no one person has like 50 things to remember, because if you give them 50 things, they're probably going to forget. If you give everybody 2 things, that's real easy to remember 2 things and to make sure you don't forget your 2 things. I would also suggest, if you can, try to set up the day before the wedding. And I know that doesn't always happen because they may have a wedding the night before. But if not, get there as early in the morning as possible. So as you're setting up, you're like, oh crap, we forgot this. We need to go and find that and fix it. And before you leave, so if you're traveling or whatever or headed there, just go through that list again and see if there's anything that you just totally forgot. Now, some overall tips and just stuff. There are these things called wedding emergency kits, and you can probably buy them or you can create your own, but if you just Google that, you'll be able to find it. And it just has a lot of things that you might need throughout the day, little things that you wouldn't think of. Very helpful. I've seen it help a lot of people. And going back to it, guys, if you prepare as much as possible, then that's really all you can do. If you prepare and then something happens, you got to live with it, okay? There's nothing you could have done to fix that. And focus on the big things. The big things are you're getting married, you've got friends and family there, it's a good time. As long as those things are happening, the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter. So enjoy getting married, focus on that, focus on the people there, and the small little things like, I don't know, I can't even think of anything small off the top of my head. The small things like the flower or the ring bearer didn't want to go down the aisle. That's a small thing. That's not that big of a deal. Okay. And move on and enjoy the day. All right. I know I went through that quickly. But like I said, I got to get out of here in like 10 minutes. And, but really guys, I've seen it so many times. Something is going to happen. It could be weather. It could be clothing. It could be food. Something is going to mess up, and you really are kind of left with a few options. You can totally freak out about it, or you can kind of like, okay, can we do anything about it? And then try to do something about it. But don't let it ruin your entire day, guys. Don't let it just destroy all your plans and all the fun that can be happening. Just be like, all right, it is what it is. Let's continue. Let's go on with it. If there's something else that kind of worries you, if there's some other thing that you've been like, what if this happens? What can we do to prepare for that? Comment. Let me know. What is it that scares you that I can kind of give you some advice on that I've seen people do to make sure that it doesn't happen to you. Let me know. I would love to know what it is that's concerning you, because most likely I have seen it or I have some ideas that can make it easier for you. All right, guys, that is it for today in this Tuesday's video. I will be back next week with more information and trying to think if anything else is going on. There's probably plenty of going on. Hopefully it doesn't snow anymore, because I don't want to deal with snow. I'd rather it start to warm up because I got a lot of engagement shoots and things going on. So, as always, guys, laugh, love, repeat. Do those things, and you will have a great wedding, a great marriage, great life. If there's anything I can do for you, please feel free to reach out, and I will help you the best I can. See you guys.